Welcome dear student. Today we starts with the ear. Anatomy of the ear. The ear is divided into the three main regions. First one is the external ear, middle ear and the internal ear. The external ear which collects the sound waves and channels them to the inward. The middle ear which conveys the sound vibration to the oval window. And last one is the internal ear which houses the receptor for hearing and the equilibrium. Now the external or the outer ear which consists of the auricle which is also called as the pinna, external auditory canal and the eardrum which is also called as the tympanic membrane. Next one is the middle ear. This middle ear consists of malleus, incus and the steps. Next one is the internal ear or the inner ear which is consist of the semicircular canals, vestibule and the cochlea. These are the external ear which contains the auricle or the pinna. Next one is these are the tympanic membrane. These are the external auditory canal and these are the tympanic membrane or the ear. Now next one is the middle ear. This is the middle ear. They contains the malleus, incus and the steps. Next one is the internal ear. This internal ear which is consist of the in semicircular canal, cochlea and the vestibule. First one is the external or the outer ear. The external or the outer ear consists of auricle, external auditory canal and the eardrum. The auricle is also called as the pinna, which is a flat of elastic cartilage shape like the flared end of a drum and covered by a skin. The rim of the auricle is the helix and the inferior portion is the lobule. Ligaments and the muscle attached to the auricle to the head. The external auditory canal is covered tube about 2.5 cm or the 1 inch long that lies in the temporal bone and leads to the eardrum. The tympanic membrane or the eardrum is a thin semi-transparent partition between the external auditory canal and the middle ear. The tympanic membrane is covered by epidermis and lined by simple cuboidal epithelium. Between the epithelial layers is connective tissue which is composed of collagen, elastic fiber and the fibroblast. Tearing of the tympanic membrane is called as a perforated eardrum. It may be due to pressure from a cotton swab, trauma or a middle ear infection and usually heals within a month. Near the exterior opening, the external auditory canal contains a few hairs and specialized sweat gland which is called as the ceruminous gland that secretes the earwax or the cerumen. The combination of the hair and the cerumen helps to prevent dust and foraging objects from entering the ear. The cerumen also prevents the damage to the delicate skin of the external ear canal by water and the insects. Next one is the middle ear. The middle ear is a small, which is a air-filled cavity in the petrous portion of the temporal bone that is lined by the epithelium. It is separated from the external ear by the tympanic membrane and from the internal ear by a thin bony partition that contains the two small openings. One is the oval window and second one is the round window. Extending across the middle ear and attached to it by ligaments are the three smallest bones in the body, the auditory ossicles, which are connected by synovial joints, and the bones which is named for their shapes are the malleus, incus, and the steps, which is commonly called as the hammer, anvil, and the stub, respectively. The handle of the malleus attached to the internal surface of the tympanic membrane and the head of the malleus articulates with the body of the incus. The incus, the middle bone in the serif, articulates with the head of the step. The base or footplate of the step fit into the oval window, which is directly below the oval window, is another opening, the round window, which is enclosed by a membrane, and this membrane is called as the secondary tympanic membrane. These are the malus, these are the incus, and these are the step of the middle ear. Next one is the internal or the inner ear. The internal or the inner ear is which is also called as the labyrinthine because of this complicated series of the canals. Structurally, it is consist of the two main division, an outer bony labyrinthine that encloses an inner membrane labyrinthine. It is like long balloons put inside a rich tube. The bony labyrinthine is a series of cavities in the petrous portion of the temporal bone which is divided into the three areas. First one is semicircular canal, second one is the vestibule, and third one is the cochlea. The bony labyrinthine is lined with the periosteum and contains the perilymph. This fluid, which is chemically similar to the cerebrospinal fluid, surrounds the membranous labyrinthine, a series of epithelial sacs and tubes inside the bony labyrinth that have the same general form as the bony labyrinth and house the receptors for hearing and the equilibrium. The epithelial membranous labyrinth contains the endolymph, and the level of potassium ions in the endolymph is usually high for an extracellular fluid, and potassium ions play a role in the generation of auditory signals. The vestibule is the oval central portion of the bony labyrinth. The membranous labyrinth in the vestibule consists of the two sacs called as the utricule, which is a little sac, and the saccule, which is a little sac, which are connected by a small duct. Projecting superiorly and posteriorly from the vestibule are the three bony semicircular canals, each of which lies at approximately right angles to the other two. Based on their position, they are named the anterior, posterior, and lateral semicircular canal. The anterior and posterior semicircular canal are vertically oriented. The lateral one is horizontal oriented. At the one end of each canal is a swollen enlargement which is called as the ampulla. This ampulla is a sac-like duct. The portion of the membranous labyrinthine that is lying inside the bony semicircular canal which are called as the semicircular duct. This structure connect with the utricle of the vestibule, and the anterior to the vestibule is called as the cochlea, which is a snail shape, a bony spiral canal that resembles a snail's shell and makes almost the 3 turns around a central bony core, which is called as the modulus. Section through the cochlea reveal that it is divided into the three canals: cochlear duct, scala vestibuli, and the scala tympani. The cochlear duct or the scala media is a continuation of the membranous labyrinthine into the cochlea, and it is filled with the endolymph. The channel above the cochlear duct is the scala vestibula, which ends at the oval end, and the channel below is the scala tympania, which ends at the round window. Both the scala vestibula and the scala tympani are the part of the bony labyrinth of the cochlea. Therefore, these chambers are filled with the perilymph. Components of the internal ear. They contain the bony labyrinth, membranous labyrinth, ampulla of the semicircular canal, cochlea, cochlear duct, oval window, saccula, vestibule. Next one is the physiology of hearing. Now the first step is the auricle directs sound waves into the external auditory canal. When the sound waves strike to the tympanic membrane, the altering the wave of high and low pressure in the air, they cause the tympanic membrane to vibrate back and forth. The tympanic membrane vibrates slowly in response to low frequency, it means the low pitch sound and rapidly in the response to a high frequency. The central area of the tympanic membrane connect to the malleus, which vibrate along with the tympanic membrane. This vibration is transmitted from the malleus to the incus and then to the stem. As the step moves back and forth, its oval-shaped footplate, which is attached via a ligament to a circumference of the oval window, which vibrates in the oval window. After that, the vibration at the oval window are about 20 times more vigorous than those of the tympanic membrane because the auditory ossicles efficiently transmit small vibrations spread over a large surface area into a large vibration at a small surface. Fifth is the movement of the steps at the oval window set up the fluid pressure wave in the perilymph of the cochlea. As the oval window bulges inward, it pushes on the perilymph of the scala vestibula. Pressure waves are transmitted from the scala vestibula to the scala tympani and eventually to the round window, causing it to the bulge outward into the middle ear. The pressure waves travel through the perilymph of the scala vestibula, then the vestibular membrane and move into the endolymph inside the cochlear duct. The pressure waves in the endolymph cause the basilar membrane to vibrate, which moves the hair cell of the spiral organ against the tectorial membrane, and this leads to the bending of the stereocilia and ultimately to the generation of the nerve impulses in the first order neuron in cochlear nerve fibers. Sound waves of the various frequencies cause the certain region of the basal membrane to vibrate more intensively than the other regions. Each segment of the basal membrane is tuned for a particular pitch because the membrane is narrower and stiffer at the base of the cochlea. High frequency sound induce maximal vibration in the region. Towards the apex of the cochlear, the basilar membrane is wider and more flexible. Low frequency sound cause maximal vibration of the basilar membrane. Loudness is determined by the intensity of the sound waves. High intensity sound waves cause the larger vibration of the basilar membrane, which leads to a higher frequency of nerve impulses reaching the brain. Louder sound also may stimulate a larger number of the hair cells. Now these are the first. Sound is passed to the outer ear, next to the middle ear, and last to the inner ear. In the external ear, they pass from the tympanic membrane and they activate the or forth and back to the malleus incus and step and they pass to the inner ear. Or the following events are involved in the hearing. Then first one is the auricle direct sound wave into the external auditory canal. When sound waves strike the tympanic membrane, they altering the high and low frequency. Third one is central area of the eardrum connects to the malleus, which starts the vibration. After the vibration of the malleus to the incus to the step. Next one is the steps moves forth and back and pushes the membrane. And the movement of the oval window set up the fluid pressure. Last one is the pressure waves are transmitted from the scala vestibula to the scala tympani. As the pressure wave deform the wall of the scala vestibula and the scala tympani, the pressure wave in the endolymph cause the basilar membrane to get vibrate and they produces the generation of the nerve impulses. These are the physiology of the hearing. So, thank you.